Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Le Parfum. Let's start with the packaging experience with this cologne. Honestly, it's really nice. They have the classic Jean Paul Gaultier can that says Le Beau Le Parfum on it, and it's really nice because you just lift the top off and there the fragrance sits, and there is also a little sort of pull tab on the fragrance to keep it from spraying because there's no cap. So I think that's really neat. And then also the bottle just looks absolutely amazing. It's the classic dude's torso that Jean Paul Gaultier does, but with some gold accents and a gradient from black to clear all the way at the bottom. The reason it looks blue is because the actual fragrance juice itself is blue. And there's this little gold leaf covering the guy's crotch, which I think is pretty funny. I have the 125 milliliter in hand, which I bought for about $160, which is a little bit more expensive than you could get it, but at the time that I bought this, it was really scarce and hard to find. So when I did find it for $160, I just pulled the trigger, and I actually am really glad I did so. It was definitely worth it for me. I got this fragrance because coconut has just been one of my all-time favorite scents, and this fragrance I heard just did it in an amazing way. Coconut, vanilla, tonka bean, and that just really enticed me into getting it. I first heard about it towards the beginning of my fragrance journey, but I didn't really have the funds to buy this fragrance, so I ended up buying Lattafa Assad Zanzibar as one of my first couple fragrances, and that satisfied my coconut craving at first, but then I just really wanted to get into Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Beau's, and I ended up going with Le Beau Le Parfum because I heard that it was the most creamy, deep, tropical of them all. And that was pretty much what I was looking for. I also got a sample of Le Beau EDT, but I like Le Beau Le Parfum a lot better. Le Beau EDT just had too much fresh citrusy notes in it that you couldn't really smell the coconut, and I really wanted a coconut dominant fragrance, and that is what you get in Le Beau Le Parfum. Alright, now I'm gonna spray this fragrance. It has a really nice atomizer, honestly, a nice big cloud. Jean Paul Gaultier always has really good atomizers. I found that the Le Beau atomizers are actually better than the Le Male atomizers, but just a very minor little difference is that the Le Males shoot a little bit further and the Le Beau's shoot stronger but closer, if that makes sense. It's like a close cloud, whereas the Le Beau's are more narrow. I mean, not Le Beau's, the Le Males are more narrow. But, oh, the opening of this cologne is so nice. Tropical, fruity, coconut, vanilla. Super great. You get that pineapple. You get a little bit of freshness, actually, too, through the opening. Like some citrus ginger, bergamot sort of smell. Except more of a metallic freshness, if that makes sense. But not metallic in the sense that you would smell it and think it's metallic. Like only that I'm going into the smell. It's just a fresh overlay that you first smell. And then you certainly smell the coconut. It's very prominent all the way through this fragrance. You certainly smell the sandalwood, tonka bean, that creaminess. You smell a little bit of iris too. So it's a little bit powdery, creamy, just delicious coconut, vanilla, done to perfection with a little bit of ginger. Super duper nice, super tropical. I wore this when I went to the Bahamas, and it definitely fit the occasion. It is just a very tropical, deep, dense, sweet fragrance with a tad bit of freshness that is a result of that ginger note. Now, even though this is a really sweet, dense fragrance, I do think you can pull it off all year round, even in the really hot summer, because of the tropical aspects of this fragrance. It still fits the situation. I have never gotten nauseous or overpowered by a fragrance that I wore in the high heat. So maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I'm less sensitive to very sweet, dense fragrances in the high heat, but this definitely did not bother me when I wore it. I wore a lot of sprays too. Around 8 or 9 sprays, which is what I typically do with my fragrances, so I had this in the high heat, and it didn't really bother me. I also have the dry down sprayed on my hand right here, and I'm going to describe what it smells like to you guys. The dry down is really just vanilla coconut with a little bit of ginger. Very creamy, powdery. It's very nice. It's very pleasing. You can wear this all year round, like I said, because of that vanilla and the creaminess. But definitely more of a tropical summer central fragrance. I really do enjoy it. Very woody too. It has a really nice woody sandalwood, almost cedar background. Just very prominent sandalwood. with that tonka bean mix. It definitely smell woody. Woody, vanilla, coconut is what you get in that dry down. And once again, it's a little bit creamy and powdery. All right, now I'm gonna pull up the notes on Fragrantica and see how they match up and see if I discover any more depth to this fragrance. All right, so Fragrantica says in the opening, this fragrance has pineapple, iris, ginger, and cypress, which I smell all of those for sure. The ginger definitely is prominent throughout the whole fragrance. Maybe a little bit less in the dry down, but definitely through the whole fragrance you can smell that ginger. That pineapple is only for a couple minutes in the opening though. It does kind of change into a tropical smell, but not as much a fruity pineapple. And that's what kind of gives that citrusy-like opening that I was talking about. And then the iris, you definitely smell that in the back a little bit. Just a little tinge of powdery iris, very creamy powdery iris. It's really, really nice. This isn't the type of iris that you would find in Dior Homme Intense. This is a much more tropical smelling iris. It doesn't really smell very floral. It smells really, really good. This is a mass appealing iris. Then in the middle notes, you have coconut and woodsy notes, which I totally get. Coconut all the way through the fragrance. Woodsy notes definitely, especially in that dry down, because in the base notes it says tonka bean, sandalwood, amber, and ambergris, which I definitely agree with that. Tonka bean, sandalwood, very, very prominent. Maybe a little bit less that amber and ambergris, but they're still definitely in the back there. But mostly coconut, woody, and a little bit of ginger in that dry down. Now this fragrance is actually fairly strong, as you would expect from a dense, creamy vanilla fragrance. It's slightly above average strength for me, what I found, and the projection is about slightly above average like the strength of the fragrance is. The longevity of this fragrance is pretty solid. I get around 6 to 8 hours on skin, which is pretty average, but then on clothes it is gonna last you a day or two, which is slightly above average when it comes to longevity. You're gonna get a very heavy fragrance cloud around you for the first hour for sure. And then after that, it's gonna dry down, give you a moderate bubble where people walking by you, or if you hug somebody, they're definitely gonna smell that for the next couple, 4, 5, maybe 4 hours. And then towards the end, the last couple hours of its lifespan, it's gonna be a skin scent, and it's gonna be a lot harder to pick up unless someone is super close to you trying to smell you. But definitely still detectable to a good nose. Like I mentioned earlier, I can recommend this for all year round for sure, especially for someone like myself. I don't really get bothered by dense, creamy, sweet fragrances in the summer. It works perfectly, tropical, but yet has vanilla, so it works perfectly all through the year. Now, my final rating for Le Beau Le Parfum is a 9 out of 10. I really do love this fragrance. It definitely satisfied my coconut craving in my collection. I don't really have the need to buy any more coconut heavy fragrances now that I have this to fill that hole. Unless I wanted more of a fresh coconut fragrance, that's a different story, because this is definitely a deep, creamy coconut fragrance. I recommend this fragrance to any guy at any age level, any year. This just works perfectly. Now you have to like tropical fragrances. You have to like iris, you have to like coconut, but if you do like that, it's gonna be amazing for you. I've gotten a compliment with this before. I wore it to a 4th of July parade, and I sprayed pretty heavy actually, and I definitely smelt myself during that parade, and my friend told me that I smelled good. So that is definitely a good sign. I definitely recommend around 8 to 9 sprays of this for compliments, and maybe around 5 sprays just to be able to smell yourself and wear the cologne, and it's going to last you all day. But you could definitely go with 10 plus sprays if you wanted to, if you really wanted people to smell you. If you're going to be outside, that's not a bad option either. It's really up to you, and for you to decide what environment you're in and how that's going to affect your sprays. So to conclude, I love this fragrance. I recommend it to all guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any fragrances that you would like me to review, comment them down below. Preferably fragrances that I own, so go check out my recent video that I did of my whole fragrance collection. And if you have any fragrances that you see in that video that you want to see me review, comment down below, let me know, and I will totally do a review on that fragrance. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.